I don't know if the camera got that. I literally have, my only tattoo is a skateboarding tattoo, and I have a Lakai logo. I'm wearing Vans right now, but Lakai is my favorite brand of shoes. Hi, my name is Kyle Arkin. I'm an R&D specialist here at MAPerformance. This is my 1995 Honda Civic. Setup on the car, it's a pretty tried and true setup. Any Honda people watching will probably recognize this is a single overhead cam. This is a D16 Y8. This is an economy engine that comes from the next generation Civics. Pretty much the first thing that anyone does is yank them out and throw them in the ocean or wherever they end up. I have quite a few of these engines, so some of them literally look like they came out of the ocean. On the inside, it's not close to stock. It's a super common setup. It's a Vitara piston and rod combo, so it's Eagle rods and Suzuki Vitara pistons. It's a super reliable setup that tons of people have done, and the cylinder head is a stock port, busy 2.4 cam, super tech valve train, all the good parts that you want in a single cam. The turbo kit is all made from fabricators that work here. Over the years, I've made a lot of friends, and they helped me out building the turbo kit. So the manifold and the charge piping was all done here from friends after hours. It's a Precision 5858. Journal bearing turbo, the perfect size for the car for response, and it makes good power. Other than that, it's on E85, ID 1000 is kind of the pretty common setup for a good 400 to 500 horsepower Honda Civic street car. Other than the engine setup, the car's got pretty much everything else replaced on it. I've done all Skunk 2 suspension components, so control arms, coilovers, all that Skunk 2. Hard race bushings for all the suspension bushings. It's got a Willwood front brake kit, which is probably one of my favorite upgrades on the whole car. It stops like no other, sometimes stops too good. That's why it's got this set of tires on here, because I definitely put a flat spot in it a couple weeks ago. Was out having some fun in Canada, doing some racing, and went to slow down a little too quickly and locked the brakes up pretty good, and went a little off the road. Didn't hit anything, but it was sketchy nonetheless, being out in the middle of the nowhere and feeling the car lose control a little bit. But definitely a humbling moment, kind of making you realize that at the end of the day, it's a big hunk of metal and you're the one steering it. So, interior, rocking Recaro seats. Fun fact, when we started stocking Recaros, I said the first stocking order that came in, I wanted the first pole position seat that came out the crate, and that's the one in the car. It's my favorite seat, and I wanted one, and as soon as I heard we were getting them, I was on board. And then also my other favorite feature, it's a AEM CD5 dash. I don't like the look of pillar pods, so that was kind of a necessity to me. Like probably the most recent thing I've done to the car, and it's been one of my favorite things. Other than that, just pretty basic lip kit. It's got a CCC drag wing and PCI skirts and a carbon trunk and a carbon hood. It's a lot. It's a good driver's car. It's manual steering, it's still power brakes, but you can really feel the road 100%, especially in the suspension. It's really stiff. Nothing solid mounted, but it's basically one step away from that, like really hard rubber urethane bushings. So you can definitely feel everything. It's not the most comfortable, not the most fun for long trips, but you feel everything, and that's what I think I love most about the car. It's really responsive. Why a single cam? Kind of boiled down to when I started building this car, I didn't have a lot of money. I wanted a fast car. I wanted to go fast for, a 16-year-old's budget, working, changing oil and busting dishes. Those were my sources of income. So the parts that I needed to do what I did were relatively inexpensive, and some stuff's changed since I first put this engine together. The short block remains the same, but a lot of other stuff has changed. It was just, being able to go fast on a budget, and caught a lot of flack from B series and K series guys. I don't know, why don't you go to a, twin cam engine? And the fact of it is I really haven't had to. I beat up on those guys just as much as they beat up on me. So there's a list that's probably a mile long of things that I've learned from this car. It jump-started my career, essentially. This passion of mine is what led me to MAP, but ultimately what led me to work on cars. I had to do everything. Me and my dad roughing it in the garage, I had to learn. He definitely wasn't going to let me not put in my fair share. So I can attribute almost all of my friendships and all of my knowledge that I have now back to this car. This car has gotten me where I am today, just purely on making me push myself I just wanted to be around cars, really. I wanted to be around like-minded people that wanted to build cool stuff, and there was no shortage of that here. So being so willing to, help a hand whenever possible, I started kind of getting my name around and people knew who I was. And when the time opened up that they wanted an R&D technician here, and I had some time under my belt, I went to tech school and I was a dealer technician for a while, so I had some knowledge, I had some skills to bring to the table, and I had time modifying cars, and so reached out and did an interview and kind of snowballed from there. And now I've just kind of been a shop rat here constantly and loving work every day. I come into work not feeling like work, it feels like a whole lot of fun, and I get to just keep building cars. R&D work is a lot of just verification work, putting stuff on, making sure it fits, making sure it performs how it should, making sure that we're not making an inferior product, and constantly improving. Also have some racing that we do here. That's been one of the, last year we did a lot of racing with the 10th Gen Civic, which was, I felt right at home being at the drag strip, front wheel drive, just hanging out in the pits. That was some of the best memories. It was really hot and I sweat a lot, and I definitely got upset a couple times, but when we clicked off a 10.8 pass, that was a super big highlight, and I guess you could say my career ended just in my life. I even got to drive the car. I can't say that I've gone fastest in this car. It's actually in the 10th Gen. I went 10.9, I think my third pass in the car, which was so much fun. It felt so good to be driving a car for someone else, essentially. I was driving a car representing a company that nothing has ever felt as cool as that moment. So that, definitely a big highlight for me was driving the Civic and just being a part of that race program and everything we did with that, and hoping that we can continue forward with that. I'm definitely pushing for all of those who want more Civic X drag racing stuff. I'm right there with you. The shop has definitely opened up for me a plethora of opportunities that maybe I would have came later in my career otherwise. I didn't mention this, but the car is, right now, it's on a Honda S300, and it's tuned 100% by me with the guidance of a couple other friends that are a little bit more knowledgeable than me. And being able to utilize the dyno here and essentially, learn tuning for myself has been really a blessing, and I'm super grateful that they've let me take on this. And it's just been so much fun learning. I am definitely behind the scenes nerd. I'm super into computers and stuff like that, so playing with some other software and learning new softwares and stuff like that was super fun, and it just connected me with the car even more, and just kind of kept that mindset of doing everything that you can on your own, so you can build your knowledge base, and it lets me know I have a better understanding of what's going on with the car constantly. And I definitely wouldn't have gotten that experience so early on. Being 22 years old, tuning your own car isn't something you hear every day, so I'm definitely grateful of the shop for giving me that opportunity. It goes back and forth. Sometimes I have more fun working on it than I do driving it. Sometimes that definitely changes. I just like tinkering. I like everything on this car has changed a handful of times, and that's just never due to necessity. It's just always been, I want to try this. This sounds cool. I want to learn this. So it's that constant state of being able to learn new things and to try new things, and then also having the gratification of being like, this works super well, or this makes the car look so much better or handle so much better. It makes it all worthwhile. It makes all the long nights and empty bank accounts worth it. Don't get in too over your head, but take on something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. I think what I've learned most is that things that are uncomfortable become a whole lot less uncomfortable once you tackle them, and the second time around you're gonna feel a whole lot better. At the end of the day, it's just a car, it's nuts and bolts, you'll figure it out. It just takes a little bit of time. I've definitely had long nights in the garage, kicking myself I can't figure this out, it's really, it's really messing with me, and at the end of the day, sometimes it just takes a deep breath and maybe some good friends to get you along, but there's nothing you can't learn by doing it yourself and just trying. I don't know, this car's not perfect, neither am I. It's kind of like a person in the sense it's always changing, constantly moving forward, and that's kind of what I strive for, is to keep, striving to make it better and learning from those around me and taking advantage of all the resources that I have, whether it be people, space, opportunities, whatever it be, just to make it a better car, make it look better, make it perform better. So always trying new things, always moving forward. Never stagnant, never stale.